Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for OneCard Mobile. What's new? I'm Fred Emery with Heartland OneCard. Just a little housekeeping information before we get started on the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted to our website probably within a week for your viewing or sharing with other individuals. The website is www.onecard.com. It's the number one, CARD.com. Feel free to view this webinar again as needed and share with other individuals. It will be in listen-only mode. You will not have the ability to actually speak on the webinar. However, if you'd like to ask any questions, simply go to the control panel that's part of GoToWebinar, and you'll see an area listed as questions. Just click on the questions area, type in your question, and I'll be able to respond to you. I will try to take those questions as they come, but we'll probably be taking most of the questions at the end. I will allow adequate time to answer any additional questions that you may have. So let's get started. Today, what we're going to cover during this webinar is a little bit about who Heartland really is. What do we do as a company, and a little bit more about Heartland. We'll talk briefly about why you might want to consider adding mobile applications, but the lion's share of this webinar will be reviewing our current mobile offerings, delving into the features and functions of those offerings, and primarily the new features and functions. We'll give you just a brief overview of the existing apps, but talk really about what we've added recently to those applications, with the largest changes occurring within the OneCard mobile application itself that's utilized by your students as a virtual OneCard. And we'll talk also about some of the other features that are in development now that you should be able to see in the near future. So let's talk a little bit about Heartland. Uh, OneCard is a division of Heartland Campus Solutions, which is part of Heartland Payment Systems. Heartland Payment Systems is the fifth largest payment processor in North America. We have over 3,000 employees in development, sales, customer service, and we work with more than 300,000 merchants, 3,000 of which are colleges or universities, on any number of our various product sets, whether it be OneCard, payment processing, loan management, 1098T management, or what have you. Uh, we have over 3,000 colleges working with Heartland. In 2013, we processed more than 3.3 billion transactions, which equaled more than $122 billion in volume. The reason why I tell you this is that Heartland's core business is card processing and card transaction processing. Our expertise is in card transactions. That's what the OneCard system does, and that's what Heartland offers as our core business, is accepting cards at retailers and merchants throughout the country and allowing those cards to process efficiently and securely. We bring that knowledge to our OneCard clients as well. So let's delve into mobile applications. I know that I have my smartphone, my iPhone, attached to me at all times. When I don't have it, I feel like I am missing something. It's like my third hand or whatnot, that it is always with me. So when it's not with me, I definitely notice that. And we're seeing that obviously the students live their lives through their mobile devices as well. It's an expectation of a student in this day and age to have applications and services offered through their mobile device, and it's only going to increase in the near future. We're estimating that by the time the class of 2016 graduates, close to 90% of college students in the US will own a smartphone, and their expectation will be that they'll be able to use services by the campus through those mobile applications. So it's a good idea to be prepared as a campus to offer services through mobile applications and really interface with your students through various mobile apps. So we can absolutely do that with the OneCard system and provide a suite of mobile applications to meet your needs. And we'll go into now a little bit of the overview for each of those apps and really what's changed in them in the not so distant past, and what's now going to be available to our clients in those applications to even make it better and more efficient for your operations. So our suite of mobile applications consists of OneCard Mobile Admin, an application that's utilized by campus card administrators to manage their OneCard solution. Check-in, a very simple, straightforward application that's designed for activity privilege check-in to verify or validate a student's status and can be run in a self-serve um, format. So you don't necessarily need someone operating this application. It could be there in a kiosk type format where students can just simply use it on their own to check in for a service or for an activity. Authenticate. This is an all-purpose, multifaceted transaction terminal, which allows you to accept your Campus One card for activity privilege, financial payments, meal plans, and as an administrator to add funds to a card or get some more information on a card holder. So it's that all-in-one application which will allow you to really accept the card for a transaction. And of course, OneCard Mobile, that all-in-one single point of access to campus life that your students and other card holders can utilize in place of their actual physical plastic card to access services and make financial payments on your campus, as well as get other information about ongoings at the campus, different events and services, and to manage their account. And we'll go into that one in great detail because there's been some really, really cool changes to that application that are coming out for you all to utilize. Now, first off, let me just give you a little brief overview of how our applications configure and communicate to OneCard. As an example here, you'll see Authenticate shown on the screen. All of our mobile applications communicate to a hosted app configuration service that Heartland hosts. When you start up the application for the first time, you would configure that application to communicate to your local transaction web service that then will process the transactions against the OneCard database. This is done by entering in a web service URL into the application for your specific campus. In our config service, we include that definition. So when you open up the app, you can simply search for your school. You will see your school listed, you choose your school, and it configures the application. There are a number of different features and functions that can be configured within the app and allow it to be branded. And this is throughout multiple applications. Most of the applications you saw there in our suite of mobile apps that I just listed a few moments ago, you can brand them, have different icons and different configurations. So all that would come down to the local app on that individual's device, and then the transactions would communicate directly through your web service to your database. So Heartland never will see your student transaction data or be able to gather that type of information. It protects your privacy and your security of transactions. The only time that it communicates to Heartland is to do the initial programming of the application on that device so that it makes it nice and easy for your users so that they don't have to do as much in terms of configuration and setup of the applications themselves. So let's talk a little bit about OneCard Mobile Admin. Now, this is an application that was developed for campus card administrators where you can look up account information, deactivate accounts, set various privileges for individuals, view their financial history, make deposits, even take photo photos for your ID cards. You'll see here in the screenshot on the right that you pull up an account. You can simply then click on to take the photo. You can take a photo, crop it, and then send it right to the ID production system to produce a card, and it goes into that production queue to come out of the printer. So it's a great tool that can be utilized by administrators to view student information. We've had several campuses say that their public safety or security officers will carry this on a daily basis with them on their devices so that they can look up student information as needed when they're around campus dealing with different issues or items on campus. Um, there are a number of campuses that actually use this to take photos remotely for their IDs to reduce the lines to their campus card office. They'll go out to different areas, take photos, send them into print, and the students can just pick them up. It really cuts down on the foot traffic. So this is a great tool for managing the OneCard system as a campus card administrator. I know I would have loved this when I was an admin at a campus. When I used to be at Hofstra, I would get the calls at 2 o'clock in the morning from our director of public safety looking for information on a student, and I'd have to log into my computer at home that was downstairs and connect to the university and pull up information. This would have allowed me to simply reach over to the nightstand, pick up the phone, and have that information right there in the palm of my hand. Um, what changes will be happening, though, is with this application, we'll probably see this change quite a bit because what we're doing is OneCard as a whole, our administrative application that our clients are used to using, is being rewritten and is moving totally to a browser-based solution, which also will be mobile enabled and mobile optimized. So what we'll probably end up seeing is majority of our client base will utilize the standard admin tool right on their mobile devices with all of the functions that you have now in your OneCard administrative application, the main desktop application that you utilize on a daily basis. So it will, this is a screenshot of the look of that application, but it'll have all the functions that you need and can be utilized on your mobile devices as well. So we'll sort of see a transition over to this as opposed to that straight native app. This will allow you to do everything that you can, including taking the photos that you're used to now with mobile admin. So let's talk about OneCard check-in. OneCard check-in enables campuses to easily accept a card to check a student's validity or verify their status, check them in for an activity or an event, do a privilege verification, as well as do time and attendance. It can be set for a check-in and a check-out so that you can record the time in and out of a location that somebody was, let's say, in the tutoring center for an hour with their assigned tutor. You can get that type of data for your different professors and to do analytics on. Additionally, you can show the different purposes of why someone is somewhere. For example, if they went to the tutoring session, the tutoring center or the admissions counselor, who did they see? What subject were they getting tutoring on? Even on a bus, let's say, which bus stop did someone get on the bus at, and which bus stop did someone get off the bus at? So it's a great tool, and it can be set to just run, being that it's so simple, as a self-serve utility where students you could have a iPad or an Android device running this application. A student would simply tap or swipe their card and it would check them in on their own so that you don't need an operator actually to accept the card and utilize it. Now, there's been a couple of changes to the app and some new features and functions that have been added. One being is that it is now available for iOS devices. Initially, this was designed on Android, and it now has been moved over to iOS devices. You can run the application either portrait or landscape mode. We have added some new functions into the application so that it can process transactions in an offline mode as well. So if you happen to lose network connectivity, whether you're running on Wi-Fi or cellular broadband, it can still function and accept the card in an offline mode. It stores those to load up to the network when it reestablishes connection. Additionally, as you can see here, it's showing a photo and a name. If you wanted to have it set so that the pictures and name are not viewable, you simply can slide this lever over here. It can be set to require a password for changes. So if it's in a kiosk mode or self-serve student mode, they can't make those changes. But then it would simply give you the pass and you would see the account number. It would stay on the screen for a couple of seconds and go away. This protects the privacy of your students so they're not able to see someone else's account information, who that person was in their photo. So that has been added to the application for you. Additionally, there's been some other functions that have been added where you can configure the ability for enter and exit transaction, to show the history without names and the reporting functions that have been added. So you'd see the account number but not the names, as well as the ability for you to add a custom logo to the application. You simply point to that logo and it will appear in the application so it can be branded for your campus. Finally, just a view of some of the reports that are in here. You can see transactions that occurred with the account number, name. This is when it was set to not record the name and just show the name, and just show the account number, pardon me. And you can see some various other information within the application. It'll tell you whether it was online or offline as well, so you know whether the transactions were real time at that point or not. Before we go into Authenticate, I do see that a couple of questions that came in. I'm going to answer those, so this way at least they have a relevance to the topics that we've discussed so far. Let me read the first one. You indicated that you can submit your photo for an ID. Is there a way to also submit your signature? That actually is a very interesting question. As of right now, no, there is no way to submit the signature to put into the account. There are, for those of you that aren't doing this, there are some campuses that will digitally record a signature and then print that onto the card. That is actually a very interesting idea. I don't see why that wouldn't be a difficult task to do, being that many applications on the market today for financial payments will ask you to sign on an application, like many credit card acceptance applications. Heartland has a number of them ourselves. Needs a signature, so you would sign right on the screen and it records it. I don't see why that wouldn't be a big problem. I think it would be something that could be added. So I will request that and suggest that to our development team to see if we can add that in. So at the point where you take the photo, you then can click on add signature. They would sign it and it would submit it. And then if you're printing signatures on your photo IDs, then it would go ahead and print that as well. Next question was, this seems very similar to Verify. Verify is a PC-based application that is it's very similar to Check-in. It would show the photo, some account information. It can do the purposes that you're going to into an area for, such as whether you're seeing a certain tutor or getting tutoring on a certain class or whatnot. And yes, that's an excellent observation. It is very much like Verify. The reason why Check-in was created was because there were a number of campuses that didn't want to be tied to a PC. So they wanted to have the ability to use standard mobile devices, bring your own device, and have it in different locations, carry it with them. So Check-in was created to easily do those same types of functions. So it is available for you if you wanted to utilize check-in as opposed to verify. Just contact your regional sales director and they can discuss it with you. Um, Next question that came in was regarding an app for door access, whether we have one. The answer is yes. I will get to that in a little bit, though. So let's talk a little bit about M-Authenticate. M-Authenticate is an all-purpose transaction terminal application. It is available on iOS and Android. In fact, all of our applications now are available for iOS and Android. They cross the different platforms, so you're not tied to just one type of device. But this allows you to accept meal plan transactions, financial debit transactions, as well as do access and activity. You simply will be able to, you choose the type of transaction you want to do within the application, are able to swipe a card or manually enter an account, or take a transaction from our other mobile device, OneCard Mobile, in place of a card. So you can do mobile to mobile, and it will process that transaction. It gives you the ability to, as an operator, to also look up account information and add funds to an account as needed. There is a specific webinar that's been recorded on M-Authenticate, and it is in our webinar history. So you can definitely get a whole lot more information on M-Authenticate by viewing that that recorded webinar. It'll go into all the different functions and show you step by step the different areas how to utilize the application. One thing that we've done more recently is we've added, as you can see here on the right-hand side, we've added in, I believe it's circled for you, we've added in the ability for you to create hotkeys on the financial transaction screen. This enables you to set specific dollar amounts. So let's say you're using this at a picnic or for quick meal plan transactions, and you have some different amounts that you need to ring up. Maybe someone is using this at your stadium selling hot dogs and sodas in the in the stadium, in the stands there. They can utilize this. Just tap on the dollar amount. Additionally, what can be done is, if you see here this blue arrow, simply click on the blue arrow and you'd be able to have a list of items. You know, this is set up just to have a dollar amount here. You can have names as well. So it can say hot dog, pizza, burger, soda, whatever you want it, bottled water or what have you. And you click on those items and it rings it up. It does act more like a calculator as well. So if you ring up or tap different items or different amounts, it will add them together. And you have the ability to also do a tip. This is a great application to be utilized also for off-campus vendors that may be delivering to your campus pizza, Chinese food, subs, what have you. They can utilize this to accept your OneCard. Students can tip them and they can keep track of all of those transactions. The screens are similar for meal plan and for activity or access. You'll receive a photo of the individual as well as a check mark or a big red X, and the reason why the transaction passed or failed right here on the screen. The application has the ability to print receipts directly or email receipts, and there is reporting capabilities within the app to see how many transactions occurred for dining, how many for access, who they were, and all of that information. Some of the new items or changes that we've made revolve around the financial area. As you can see, we've added right here at the top default bill type. Now, what you can do here is define the different bill types that are set up in OneCard. This will allow you to change how the funds are processed within the application. So obviously it can be set to do a default method where, let's say, it's always taking from a preferred one card balance and putting the funds in a specific general ledger revenue account. However, you can define multiple bill types within the system that would allow you to pull funds from a specific balance and put it in a specific general ledger. So if, let's say, you're at a picnic that's out on your fields and you're selling um, food and retail items. So you want to have the money that's being accepted for selling your hot dogs and your hamburgers and your soda be credited to dining. You could use the same terminal without any changes also to sell hats and t-shirts and uh, posters or what have you. Just simply click on the bookstore bill type and it will flow the funds to that proper location and pull them from the proper balance for those transactions. So you don't have to have a second terminal or one for food, one for bookstore transactions or retail transactions. It all can be done within the same application and the funds can be processed accordingly. So that was a great add to this application and makes it even more flexible for our client base. Now let's get a little bit into the actual student ID. As we've seen, campuses and students want to use their mobile application more for various functions on campus. One of the biggest areas is as a replacement to their campus card, utilizing the phone with a virtual card. So really we feel that isn't it time to rethink that campus card and move beyond the card to that digital identification. And that's really where OneCard Mobile comes in. OneCard Mobile becomes that all-in-one app, that virtual OneCard, that virtual OneCard wallet that allows you to register your OneCard account within the application, process transactions for financial access and privilege instead of your card. So you would take this application and utilize it to buy a soda from a vending machine or buy your meal in the dining location, gain entry to an activity, or open a door for, let's say, a computer lab or a residence hall. Anywhere that you would want the mobile app to be utilized to open a door, it can be set and configured to do so. So that's all within this specific application. It also provides you the ability for your cardholders to manage their account. Not only can they register their account and it will produce a virtual image of their ID, but they can manage the account as well. They can add funds, view their history, report it lost or stolen, a card lost or stolen, so it's deactivated, um, get a statement, see their groups, and view their personal information to make sure it's correct. That's all able to be done through the OneCard mobile application, as you see here with the Manage Account icon. You can send emergency notifications or set the application to call security in an emergency. They simply tap on an icon and it can be configured to call into your public safety or security office. What we've also done is we've made configurable icons in the lower portion of the application, as you see here, that you as a campus can define. You can choose what information you'd like to have in the application, what icons you want to show, and then configure them to either launch another mobile application or pull in information from a mobile-enabled browser. So you can set it to, let's say, the maps icon to point to your university website and pull in your campus maps so that students can see them. You could do that for athletic events, your bus schedule, dining menu, what's for lunch in the main cafeteria today. All of that information can be programmed by you and configured in an easy format. Being that it's pulling the information right from your main website, you don't have to worry about, as a campus card administrator, managing that content. The different areas will automatically be managing their content for the website already, and it will just appear in the mobile application using those mobile-enabled URLs. Now, to process a transaction, basically what you need to do is select where you want to make a transaction using the mobile app instead of your card. So you can choose from a list of vending terminals, dining point of sale terminals, bookstore POSs, print locations, doors, events that are occurring to gain entry to those events. You simply would choose, let's say that you wanted to buy a Coke from the Student Center Coca-Cola machine, and then simply swipe that card that appears on the app here across the screen, and it would process the transaction to vend that Coke. Same for dining, bookstore, and all the areas, as well as for opening up a door. You can also select those terminals from a map. It'll show you, as you see here, the terminals that are around you using your GPS location. You can manually enter a terminal number that is part of the listing. You could filter by types of terminals or location. Show me all the terminals in the student center, or show me only the vending terminals in the student center. You can scan a QR code that can be placed at the location, whether it's on a dining POS, on the vending machine, or a door. Just scan the QR code and it would select that door to send the command to open. So there's a number of different ways to select a terminal and to process that transaction. In Access, though, you will only be able to see the locations where that cardholder is permitted to enter. So for my account registered in my device, I'll only be able to see, let's say, the 5 or 10 doors that I have access to. You might have hundreds on your campus, but I'll only be able to see those that I have access to. We also use geofencing to make sure you need to be in proximity of the doors, and we can set prompts to open the doors as you approach them. We have, though, made a number of changes to the application. Many of you are probably familiar with the fact that we have the ability to virtualize the card. This is not a static image, it is dynamic. It will show an image as if the card was being printed from the printer, as it's communicating back to OneCard, pulling the actual card format that is meant for that individual and changing the information. But what we're adding to the system is a check so that, let's say, a security officer or someone else can tap on that picture and it will verify that it is a real image as part of the application, and it's not just a screenshot or a photo of the card. So they will get feedback that this is a verified and actual card image. So that is a great feature that's been added to the system. Additionally, what we heard from a number of clients that were utilizing the app is that, on the initial startup, when a student downloaded the application, that they needed to be taught almost how to register, or it wasn't as intuitive as they would have liked it. So what we've done is we've added a wizard into the system to help configure the application for the first-time student user. When they download the application and launch it, it'll first ask them to read the license agreement and check off that they've read and understand it. So they must accept the license agreement during the initial configuration wizard. This was done also because the ability that having them have to sign off on the agreement. Certain states now are requiring that privacy and licensing agreements are on the first screen and readily available for students to see. This gives you that information and can allow you to give them some additional pieces to the mobile app that they need to know about in terms of legalese. Once they click off on that, it then will ask them to configure for their school. So simply all they do is enter at least 3 letters of their school name, click on next, and it will show them a list of schools that would meet that criteria. They would click on their school, and it would configure the application to point to their specific campus web service API. So they don't have to do any typing or manual configuration, just simply enter the name of their school, and it will configure it accordingly. Once they do that, they can then register their account within the application by entering in their account number and PIN code. If they if you as a campus want to utilize your network ID number, such as their network login, their user ID and password, they would choose a specific account type that's listed here at the top, and it would then prompt them on the next screen to enter their user ID and password, and that would then pull in their OneCard number and register that OneCard account number within the application. Now, a OneCard account number can only be registered in one application at a time. That's for security and protection of your students to prevent fraudulent use of the application, of the account, I mean, within the application. So it can only be registered to one device at a time. So they simply would enter their account number and PIN code or their network credentials, and simply then it would register them within the application, and they would receive feedback that their account has been registered successfully, so that they know that it's within the application. Then it would simply, once they click on the done, they're ready to utilize the application, and it would go ahead and virtualize the ID image within the app for them, and they're ready to start making transactions and managing their account. One thing that we've added to the system recently that's in beta testing is the use of iBeacons. If you don't know what an iBeacon is, this is an image of one that we've utilized in our testing. There's different formats of a beacon. They look different. Some are flat. Some look more like this rock, so to speak. They're small, non-obtrusive, can generally be adhered to the top of a door or in a lockbox or somewhere out of the way, so they're not noticed. But basically, beacons are a low-cost, low-powered transmitter that can notify nearby devices of their presence. So as I would approach a beacon, it would interact with my iPhone or my Droid and communicate with me. It utilizes Bluetooth Low Energy, Bluetooth Smart, to communicate with that device. They are battery operated, and are low cost, so you can replace the batteries in them or replace the device. But they're programmed with certain information that can trigger reaction on the device or pinpoint your location, push out information. For example, the iBeacons in our development, what we've done is we programmed them with terminal information. So as you approach it, you know what door or terminal that you're approaching, and then it can allow the application to react accordingly, to take out some of the work that needs to be done by the student in selecting that I showed you before, selecting the location on a map or a list or whatnot. As you approach the door or the terminal, it simply would interact with the app and prompt you for a response. So you don't need to do any selection. Now, how this works, here you'll see an example. The application, once opened, would communicate to that beacon. You would receive a notification on your phone. Would you like to enter this door? You would click yes. It would communicate and send the command to open the door. So the student doesn't need to do any selection any longer. As they approach a door that they have access to, they'll get a prompt and it will open the door for them once they click on the command yes or no. So that's a pretty straightforward process. Minimal sort of work on the part of the student. It's very passive. It's prompting you to simply click on yes and allow you into that door. But we've even gone further to make it even easier for you. What we've done is we've created a favorites list. So a student will have the ability to select certain doors or terminals and favorite them. You can see here right on the right-hand side of the screenshot, the red oval just went around, the favorite icon. The student would just simply click on that icon and it would select their favorite doors and put it into their favorite list that you see up here. Once in the favorites list, the student can, if there's a beacon associated with that door or location or terminal, they simply can then choose to get a notification or to send and also send a command to automatically open the door as they approach it. So they would simply click on, the default is that it's X'd off as no. Once it's selected as a favorite, the student can configure it individually themselves. and choose to receive that notification as they approach that beacon associated with that door, and also have the application send an auto unlock command. So they don't have to do anything. As they approach the door, it simply will notify them that they're approaching and unlock the door for them. They simply grab the door and walk in. So it's very passive on the part of the user. They do need to be logged into the application, but it can be running in the background. It does not need to be open and um, out of a standby mode in terms of the phone. The phone itself can be locked, and it just will process that transaction in the background for them. So it's a great feature and tool that's added to the system for those access controls. And you can see here a screenshot that will appear as a notification right on the phone. You go close to one of your favorite doors, and then it will tell you which door. Slide OneCard Mobile for that door. If you don't slide it there, it still will do the unlock command if you have it set to auto unlock. If you do not choose the auto unlock feature, you'll get the notification, and then when you slide it, that will prompt then the next step of opening the door. So it's pretty straightforward for the students. Once they register, they can favorite doors, and as they approach them with the beacons, it'll simply unlock the doors and let them in. You will see notification within the application at the top here as you approach a door, when it picks up a beacon if you're in range or not from that for the command to send, and it will go green when you are close enough for the command to be sent for unlock. Also, if you don't have doors in your favorites list, let's say you do have access to 10 doors, but one of those doors you go to once every 2 months. You don't want it in your favorite list. You don't need it to be in your favorite list. You can still select it from the normal method within the OneCard places off of a map or from the list. And once you select it, you'll see the beacon icon appear at the top. It'll be red until you get in proximity, and then it will turn green and prompt you to open the door. So this enables you to, let's say I'm across campus, I know I'm going to the biology lab that I only go to once a month. I can select that door, set it for the beacon, and as I walk towards the door, it'll turn green and then unlock it accordingly. So that gives you a lot of options as a user of the application. Now, there are still a number of items in the work. The first one I mentioned is that virtual card validation. The second is utilizing beacons for financial use. We've done our beta test on the door access part. The next will be moving it over to financial use. So as you approach a vending terminal that you're favorited or a laundry room that you have as a favorite, it'll process it accordingly in the same way. Right now, beacons are associated with a specific terminal. So let's say it's the terminal for the front door to a residence hall. What the plan is also is, and what's in the work, is to have the ability to also associate beacons with a location. So that if you have multiple terminals underneath the location, let's say multiple point of sale terminals in your at the Emery Grill in your dining hall, that you can choose the location, and then as you approach those point of sale terminals, it would prompt you which POS are you going to. Obviously, you want to go to the one with the shortest line. So that would allow you to choose a line at that point in time as you approach them, and not have to choose one in advance. Additionally, we're working on direct communication with lock sets that do support BLE, so that the device itself, the mobile application, much like near field communication, would communicate via BLE directly to the lock. Allegiant has a new NDE lock that's coming out. HID has lock sets that use BLE. So direct communication to those lock sets is another item that's in the works. Additionally, to the mobile OneCard application, a function is being added to show the last 5 transactions. Now, you can run a financial history now, statement account within the manage account area, but this would be a quick show me the last 5 transactions, both access and financial. Maybe you want to see, okay, I bought lunch here and then I opened the door to my residence hall type of a situation. So a student would be able to see that within the application and get their last 5 transactions. And finally, having the ability to push advertising to the app. Program some beacons in the cafeteria to display what the daily special is. So as you approach the dining hall, it will pop up and say, today's special is a Reuben sandwich. Or as you approach um, the box office of your stadium, it'll prompt you to say, to purchase tickets to the upcoming lacrosse game and what the rate is for a student ticket, if there's a charge to it. So you can definitely push some additional information through the beacons to the OneCard mobile application, and that's another piece that's currently in the works. So we've done a great deal with OneCard Mobile with those beacons, and there's still more to come for our campuses. So that concludes the formal part of our presentation. What I'll do now is I'll go to rest of the questions and answer those. The next question was, any plans to make the app available for Windows Phone users? I'm not exactly sure about that. I'll have to check. Right now, we've done Android and iPhone due to the market penetration of those devices. However, as Windows becomes more prevalent, the Windows phones perhaps will transition it over, but I will check with the developers on that. I don't think there are any plans right now for that, but it's something that we can look at, and we're continually evaluating to see the market penetration of those phones. Can you use an RFID or scan square to access doors? Our doors are all RFID or keypad, not controlled via OneCard. I'd have to get some more information on that. The way we're working with OneCard Mobile right now is for the obviously RFID cards, contactless cards can work on those doors, but the NFC or RFID portion is not yet available in all devices. Apple has released Apple Pay and has NFC in their devices. The iPhone 6, but they have not opened up an SDK for that as of yet. So tapping the phone on those are not available. That's why we're also working on the BLE, because there's more and more of the lock sets that are coming out with BLE and readers that are coming out with BLE. So we're communicating over the network to send a command to the door to unlock. You actually don't even need a reader at the door for OneCard Mobile to work with the doors to send the unlock command. As long as you have our controller in the building and the doors connected themselves to the controller, the electronic locking mechanism, you can send the command to unlock those doors. So you don't need the card itself. You just choosing that door and sending the command over the network. And this uses our patent pending technology for the way we communicate with these controllers and these terminal points. But Donna, I can definitely follow up with you and get some additional information to delve a little more. And I'm not sure if I'm understanding exactly what you're meaning. Next question was regarding the access. If you have to have an iBeacon set up, no, you don't. You do not need an iBeacon set up. You can still select the terminal number from a list, from off of the map, from entering a terminal number, for scanning a QR code, filtering to it. So there's a number of different ways to select the door. The beacon just makes it a little bit more passive on the side of the user, and also accounts for being in close proximity to the door. Initially, when we designed the application, we were using geofencing, and that's still in there, and it will limit the range around the door that you can send a command if using any of the other methods. However, geofencing is flat. So if you're in, let's say your residence hall is 5-10 stories tall, you could be on the 5th floor and the geolocation will think that you're right in front of the door. The beacon provides sort of a bubble around the door of a distance. So if you're on the fifth floor, you won't be able to open up the door. So it prevents that inappropriate or um, accidental unlocking of the door when you're not right in front of it. It really makes sure that someone is right there, and also makes it a lot easier to operate the application. It it's a lot more passive. And the last question: when a student loses their physical card and we change their suffix so no one else can use that card, how does that affect the virtual card on the mobile app? Um, it really doesn't affect the card on the app unless the card account number has changed itself. The suffix would be on the card issuance number would be in the encoding on the card. However, they're registering by their account number. So if the card is lost, they can still use the mobile application for that time being, and to gain entry as needed. So the suffix won't really affect the application itself, because it's not looking for a suffix. It's just using the credential of that individual, their account number and PIN, or their network login with the registered account number. So it won't really prohibit them from utilizing the mobile app. And that's one of the good points about the application, is that, when somebody does lose their card, they can continue to utilize the app to gain entry and to make purchases as needed while a card is being replaced or a card has been shut off. So if there are any other questions, oh yeah, two more came in. What determines the range of the beacon? Phone strength, battery strength of the beacon? Actually, that's a very great question. That's a very good question. The beacon can be programmed to have a certain range. We preset them with a range that we found it works great with the system and will allow you to have the best interaction with the terminal. However, you can change that range through its programming as a campus card administrator, and we'll train you how to do that. So you can change it to be a closer proximity or a further distance if you like, and you can do that per beacon. So that, let's say you wanted to have somebody, as they're entering a stadium, attached to a beacon and check in for the stadium that they've entered. So maybe you don't need it to be so close, but on a financial terminal, let's say a vending machine, you want it to be somewhat closer for them to activate that vending machine. That gives you the ability to change that range. It's all defined by the beacon itself. The range question came in about the range varying with battery strength. From what I know, no, the range won't vary with battery strength. Um, it should stay, as long as you have battery to power it, the range should be pretty consistent on that. Um, so that should not affect the battery strength, shouldn't affect the range from what I know, from what I've learned so far. But I can double check that for you as well and make sure that that is accurate. But from what I know, the battery strength will not affect the range. Um, okay, that's all the questions that I see that have come in. If you have any other questions, feel free to type them in now as we're closing up the session and ending the session. I'll try to answer them. If any come in afterwards, you can feel free to, or you think of any later on today, feel free to email me. My email is right here on the screen, as well as our phone number. Our website is here where you can go to see various recorded webinars from the past, the one on M Authenticate. We also have a new recorded short webinar on OneCard Mobile that really delves deeply into how the app functions and and shows the different features of how you select a vending terminal, how you process a transaction, and all that. And there's also another video on OneCard Mobile. There's recorded webinars on check-in. So feel free to go to the site. You can get a lot of good information on the mobile apps from there, from our various webinars that we've had already. So feel free to give me a call or send me an email if you have any other questions. There haven't been any other questions that came in the GoToMeeting control panel. So with that, I'm going to thank you all for joining us today. I appreciate you attending this webinar. It will be recorded. It is being recorded, as I mentioned, and will be appearing on our website just as soon as our Marketing team can load it up to the website once I get it over there to them. So thank you again. I appreciate your time and taking this time out of your daily schedule, your busy schedule, to learn a little bit more about OneCard Mobile and our mobile apps and what we've done within them recently. Thanks so much and have a great day.